Hi, it's Katrina! Having a pet go missing is one of the most crushing things that can happen to someone. But from dogs missing for 12 years to cats surviving a fire, here are 10 amazing stories of animals that returned home. Number 10. Dutchess the Dog. Katheryn Strang's fox terrier Duchess went missing from her home near Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida in February 2007. Then, in October 2019, over 12 years later, someone found Duchess underneath a shed in Carnegie, Pennsylvania near Pittsburgh, over 1,000 miles away from where she disappeared. The Good Samaritan took the dog to the Humane Animal Rescue Shelter, where they scanned her microchip and found Strang's information. Besides being cold, hungry, anxious, and needing a nail trim, 14-year-old Duchess appeared to be in good health. Admissions counselor Torrin Fisher called Strang, who had long feared that her precious pup had been hit by a car. Strang, who now lives in Boca Raton, drove 18 hours to the shelter in Pittsburgh, where she greeted Duchess for the first time in 12 years. Time did not weaken their bond. Duchess, who was nervous since her rescue, became calm and content in her owner's arms. So how did Duchess end up in Pittsburgh, so far away from home? I don't think she walked the whole way, Strang said. Apparently, Duchess really likes car rides and would have eagerly entered a stranger's vehicle. Strang believes that at one point or another during her time missing, someone took her along for the ride. Number 9. Cat lost in fire. As devastating wildfires rage through the Australian bushlands with no apparent end in sight, many families have had no choice but to evacuate their homes, and some have lost everything. Ben Symonds and his family fought the flames outside their house in Bemboka, New South Wales for as long as they possibly could. But as the fire encroached on their home, they realized they needed to pack up and leave. During all the chaos, they watched as their cats, Angel and Mickey, fled into the bush. Symonds recounted his experience in a Reddit post, explaining that the property was almost entirely consumed by fire and is nearly completely blackened, minus some grass near where the house once stood. For the next week, the family cleaned up the property and searched for Angel and Mickey, but with no success. They assumed that the worst had happened and accepted the loss of their cats along with their home. To their surprise, on the 7th night since the fire claimed the home, the Symonds found Angel hiding in a nearby gully. Besides having singed fur and some damaged whiskers, she's miraculously okay, and even received a clean bill of health from the veterinarian. The family is shocked that Angel survived, especially since she's an indoor cat. They suspect that she took refuge from the fire in a wombat hole. Angel is happy to be home and is as cuddly as ever, and her return gives the Symonds hope that perhaps Mickey also survived the fire. Number 8. Shaggy the Yorkie. Chicago resident Tina Anderson wasn't overly concerned at first when her Yorkshire Terrier Shaggy escaped from her backyard 8 years ago. Shaggy had gotten loose before, but he always came back. But the pup was gone longer than usual, and it soon became clear that this wasn't one of Shaggy's typical brief departures from the family home. The Andersons searched frantically, knocking on people's doors and hanging missing posters all over their neighborhood. But Shaggy's whereabouts remained a mystery, and eventually his heartbroken family moved on with their lives. Then, in January of this year, someone called Tina and asked her if her dog was missing. Tina thought the caller was referring to Ebony, the dog she got after Shaggy disappeared, and reassured them that her canine companion was safe in their kitchen. The caller clarified that they were asking about Shaggy, who'd recently been turned in to the Chicago police as a stray. He was traced back to Tina through his microchip. She was so shocked she nearly dropped the phone. Shaggy, who is now 12 years old, is overweight and has various health problems, including a blind eye and a cataract, but the Andersons reunited with him and vowed to raise the necessary funds for his care. Tina's 24-year-old daughter Daisha had a close bond with Shaggy before he disappeared and is especially thrilled about his return. His first night home was a bit tense, but by the next day, he was as attached to Daisha's side as ever and getting along just fine with Ebony. Tina believes that someone probably found Shaggy and took care of him, and that he was either abandoned or ran away shortly before he was found. And now for number 7. But first, be sure to let us know about your pet stories in the comments below, and remember to subscribe if you are new here to join the Origins Explained family. Number 7. Childhood friends reunite. Oregon teen Hannah Roundtree's beloved childhood cat Spunky went missing over 3 years ago while the family was away on vacation. After a months-long search, Hannah concluded that Spunky may have passed away or been taken in by another family. Shortly before Christmas last year, the 15-year-old began a volunteer job at the Saving Grace Pet Adoption Center in Roseburg, Oregon. During her second day there, she noticed a cat with an uncanny resemblance to Spunky lounging on the catio, or the cat patio, get it? Hannah took a closer look and realized that the cat was, indeed, her long-lost furry friend. She took Spunky home, of course, where he quickly readjusted and is as happy as can be. 3 months earlier, someone found Spunky on the side of the road and turned him in as a stray. A couple adopted him a few weeks later, but returned him shortly after because he wasn't cut out for catching mice. Now that Spunky is back where he belongs, he has a microchip, just in case he ever takes off again. Number 6. Obi the Horse. In 2003, Michelle Poole of Eureka, Arkansas went to the hospital to have surgery on her back. Instead of paying the expensive boarding fees for her horse, Obi, she asked her father in San Antonio, Texas to watch over him while she recovered. Her father enclosed Obi in his pasture because he didn't have a stable. One night, someone clipped the metal fence and stole the horse. Why would anyone do that? Obi is a saddle-bred pinto, which is a breed worth anywhere from $1,200 to $15,000. Upon learning what happened, Poole went on the search. She made flyers, contacted the local sheriff's office, and submitted the case to an organization called Stolen Horse International. Nearly 10 long years passed and there was no sign of Obi until Poole received an amazing phone call. Obi had been found. A woman named Deanna Bordelon was looking for a horse for her 13-year-old daughter when she came across a lovely saddle-bred pinto on Craigslist. The horse was named Warbonnet and was being sold by a woman named Della Braid. According to Braid, a pastor gave her Warbonnet 8 years ago. The pastor claimed he couldn't do anything with Warbonnet because he was shy and had been abused. But Braid made progress with the horse, so the pastor gave him to her. According to the pastor, he got it from another man who claimed to have found the horse wandering down the highway. Bordelon thought the story was a little weird and convoluted, so she did a little sleuthing. She found a picture of Opie and realized it was the same horse. She contacted the authorities, and this is where things get very wild, wild west. The sheriff's office hired a team of contract cowboys who seized the horse from Bordelon. Bordelon claims she didn't know the horse was stolen. Not enough evidence was found against anyone, so no one was charged. Poole, for her part, was glad to get Opie back, and from his reaction in a video of the reunion, he was pretty happy too. Number 5. Sasha's 5-year adventure. Victor Usov's fluffy black cat Sasha disappeared from his Portland, Oregon home in 2014, just a few months after Usov adopted him. The distraught pet owner assumed Sasha had been devoured by coyotes, but he couldn't have been more wrong. 5 years later, Usov received a phone call from an animal shelter in New Mexico, over 1,300 miles away. An animal control officer had found Sasha wandering the streets of Santa Fe, and a microchip scan turned up Usov's contact information. Life on the streets apparently wasn't too harsh for Sasha, who had matted fur but weighed 19 pounds and was far from starving. Santa Fe Animal Shelter employee Murad Kirdar transported Sasha to Portland courtesy of American Airlines, who provided the flight to both free of charge. Usov was reunited with Sasha at the airport, and by the end of the night, the cat had resumed his favorite place on the sofa and was looking for belly rubs. It's like he never left. He's so happy, Usov told AZ Central. I guess I want to think he was on a great American adventure. It's true that nobody knows how Sasha traveled from Portland to Santa Fe. While cats are known to travel great distances by hopping aboard trucks and trains, it's rare for a microchip to reconnect a cat to their owner after a 5-year disappearance. However Sasha got from point A to point B, shelter staff believe he eventually became someone's outdoor cat because they could tell he was eating based on his size. Number 4. A Christmas Eve reunion. English couple Jude and John Kinloch were preparing to move in February 2013 when their 13-year-old cat Tabs went missing. When Tabs failed to reappear, they were utterly devastated. Over 6 years later, on Christmas Eve of last year, a 32-year-old mother of 3, an animal lover named Lisa Jones, discovered an ailing cat in the street in Gillingham, Kent. The cat was in a pitiful state, emaciated and covered in sores. As someone who once struggled with homelessness herself, Jones felt compelled to take the cat in. She bathed him, fed him, and called an animal rescue to have him scanned for a microchip, with plans to keep the cat if he couldn't be connected with an owner. The microchip revealed that the suffering cat was Tabs, who was 19 years old. The Kinlochs were shocked that he was still alive after so long, especially at his age, and immediately drove to the shelter to pick him up. They were overwhelmed with emotion during the reunion. The senior cat was unwell, but the couple felt grateful to have him back for whatever time he had left. Although she was willing to keep tabs, Jones was happy to see him reunited with his family. In a Daily Mail interview about her kind deed, she stated, "My daughter said to me, 'Mom, you must have just made someone's Christmas. I'm just so happy that he is happy and at home.'" Number 3. King the Dog. Bailey Lawrence of College Park, Georgia was just 5 years old when her cherished dog King vanished from her family's backyard. The Lawrences were suspicious about King's disappearance because he was tied up when he went missing, but since they were admittedly unsure what happened, they did not file a police report. After a few years passed, Bailey's father, Brandon Lawrence, figured that King would unfortunately never return home. But just in case he was ever found, the family kept their contact information up to date with King's microchip. In December 2019, someone found King living outside in College Park, not far from the Lawrences' home. Animal Control turned the dog over to Fulton County Animal Services, who linked him back to his family through a microchip scan. They immediately went to the shelter to retrieve their deeply missed friend. King is now 10 years old and has health problems, but this didn't stop Bailey, who is now a teenager, from bursting into joyful tears when she reunited with him. Things may not have turned out so well if it weren't for King's microchip. The dog was wearing a collar with someone else's contact information on it when he was discovered, and at first, that's who animal rescue workers tried contacting. In an interview with WSB-TV, Brandon explained that the surprising incident emphasizes the importance of keeping microchip contact information current, as doing so proved that the Lawrences are King's rightful guardians. Number 2. Cat survives a wildfire. Kimberly Timp Forsyth of Redding, California was 16 years old when her dad brought home a Siamese kitten, who quickly became her best friend. The family affectionately called him Little Brat due to his feisty tendencies. As he grew up and calmed down a bit, they renamed him Little B. Little B was extremely loyal to Kimberly. He walked with her to her friends' houses, waited outside until she left, and then walked home with her. When she was in her 20s, Kimberly rented homes that did not allow pets, but she often visited Little B at her parents' house. In 2014, she got her own house, and her beloved kitty moved in with her and her 10-year-old daughter. Little B clearly enjoyed his relaxed lifestyle as his weight grew to 25 pounds. Kimberly was out of town when the tragic car fire blazed through her neighborhood in July 2018. Her friend rescued Little B and took him to her home, but he snuck out the doggy door and didn't return. For over a year, Kimberly searched exhaustively for Little B, calling shelters and posting his photo in animal rescue groups on Facebook. She had all but given up when a homeowner spotted a skinny Siamese cat near their home and contacted her. Little B looked a lot different. His weight had dropped to a mere 10 pounds, but he recognized Kimberly instantly and clung to her. "I picked him up and both of his paws were holding onto one of my fingers," she told Record Searchlight. "We used to tease him about being fat," she continued. "It's probably what saved him." At first, the traumatized cat remained skittish, but he showed daily signs of progress and slowly began opening back up to his family. Number 1. The 2,000-mile ride home. In October 2019, a Butte, Montana resident and single mother of 2 named Cassandra Rasmussen kindly allowed a needy family friend to stay at her home temporarily. To her dismay, the house guest responded to her generosity by robbing the home and disappearing while she was at work one day. The so-called friend took Cassandra's wallet, several of her belongings, and her adored family pet, a 9-year-old pit bull mix named Zeus. Cassandra and her children were heartbroken by Zeus's disappearance. Their one Christmas wish was for his safe return. 2 months later, authorities caught up with the perpetrator over 2,000 miles away in Nitro, West Virginia. He still had Zeus with him. Police arrested the culprit and turned the dog over to the Kanawha-Charleston Humane Association, where employees checked his microchip and called Cassandra with the good news. Cassandra was thrilled to learn that Zeus had been found, and the two were even able to video chat. But the 73-pound dog was too large to fly commercially, presenting a major obstacle in returning him to his family. Determined to reunite Cassandra and Zeus, the Humane Association and Many Paws Volunteer Transport organized a team of volunteers to get the dog back to Montana. Dozens of people offered to help, and in early December, Zeus began his long trek home. The Kanawha-Charleston Humane Association posted regular updates throughout Zeus's 4-day, 30-leg journey, which captured national attention. Kansas City radio personality Dana Wright even broadcasted one of the handoffs between volunteers on Facebook Live. On December 16th, after 3 sleepover parties and crossing through 9 states with over 15 volunteers, Zeus was back in his family's loving arms and their Christmas wish was fulfilled. Thanks for watching. Remember to get your pet microchipped. Would you like to hear more amazing animal stories? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're at it, be sure to subscribe. See you next time. Bye!